Hi, Linda here. This module today is number 15, 4 simple steps to push-ups. And I'll tell you all about it. Why don't you meet me over at your mat? I'll see you right there in a second. You may be wondering why you would want to start a push-up practice and what benefits it has for you. And you think of your arms getting strengthened, and it definitely does that. It also strengthens you across your chest, your back, your shoulders, your core muscles, your hips. So doing that one activity engages a lot of different muscles at the same time. So it can be really beneficial for you. And today we're going to be covering the 4 simple steps, which are ways to warm up, how to get yourself in the right positioning, how to start taking action and how to build up on that, and what to do to recover once you're finished with your practice. And the props that you're going to need today are a chair. I have a ball with a little bit of give to it, a resistance band, or you could use a pair of tights or something like that. And also we're going to be using the wall. So let's start up leaning onto our chair, and we'll just stand up to do this. And I'm just going to turn my chair sideways. And you can just stand in front of it and hinge at the hip, bringing your hands down onto the chair seat. And then start to walk your hands around as if you're turning your fingers little by little so that they're pointing out and then back towards you. And you might notice that from one hand to the other might feel a little bit different. Once you go as far as you can, work your way back, bringing your hands in towards each other. And then here you might start to bend your elbows a little, just starting to get a little bit ready for the action of push-ups. And you might keep turning those fingers so that coming to the inside, now they're facing towards you. And as you come back, you might even experiment with moving your hands around the chair seat, coming up onto your fingertips. And maybe just try with your fingertips pointing slightly in, bending up and down a few times. And then come back to stand up. With your hands in front of you, wrap your fingers down into a fist and wrap your thumbs around the outside. Bend your wrists down and turn your knuckles towards each other. And circle around a few times. We're in the warm-up phase, and you could take as much extra time with this phase as you would like. Swirl the other way. And then stretch your fingertips out. Draw them back in tight to your fist. Start to do this more quickly, stretching them out as far as they can go. Just keep going more and more quickly, like you're flicking drops of water off your hands. Quickly, quickly, keep going faster, faster, until it's so fast you aren't even controlling it. And then just shake your hands out. Pick up your band. And we will be using a ball in a second, but make sure that you don't have it anywhere that you're going to step on it. And just bring the band down in front of your hips somewhere, holding on a little bit wider than your outer hip distance apart, and keeping the band taut in between your hands. And start to pull it apart 1 or 2 times here and move up an inch or two. Pull it apart once or twice and move up, like the rungs of a ladder as you're climbing up. And you might stop around shoulder height. You might continue on up towards the top of your head. You might even go a few times up higher than that, But if that's not comfortable, it's not necessary. And take everything at your own pace. Work your way back down. Back to your hips. And then we'll just set this aside for now. And you might stand a little bit wider. Let your arms just dangle down like limp spaghetti noodles and start to twist side to side. And here we're just getting our hips and core muscles in our torso in motion a little. And you might do this a little bit more actively, flinging your arms away from you, letting everything turn a bit. You could even lift up your heels to go a little bit further. Just do a couple more. And then feel on your chest, you might feel the start of your collarbone right about here. And with your fingers, trace this over to your shoulders. And then you could use your hand just to rub along here, or you could take your ball. And there's two ways you could do this. Just hold the ball and then press it in along that line, just under your collarbone. Or you could open your palm and just roll the ball along. So continue on with that for a moment. Just getting in touch with those tissues there. And once you get over to where your collarbone joins with your shoulder over here, you could just press in for a moment, whether it's with your hand or your ball, and then switch over to the other side. You probably feel a lot of tenderness here, so you don't need to be pressing in so hard that that feels uncomfortable. This could just be a light opening. And then we'll set the ball down out of the way. And just stand and breathe, opening up across your chest for a few breaths. Feeling that air expanding your chest, perhaps also expanding your back at the same time as you breathe in. Now, while you're finishing that off, I'm going to start talking about posture. And this is part of the how-to section. So you want to stand, and we're going to be starting out doing push-ups on the wall. Whatever the surface is that you're pushing up towards, you want to be standing with your hips and feet square to the wall, having your feet parallel and your hips nice and solid and sturdy, facing towards that surface. And if you can judge for yourself where your feet should be, but just as a general rule, if you have your feet wider apart, it's going to be easier to balance and take more weight off of your arms. So keep that in mind. So when you're at the wall, you might want to have them something like this, which is about shoulder width apart, or the same as your outer hip width. So judge that for yourself. You might try a couple things. And then you're going to have your hands up about the height of being in front of your shoulders, with your elbows at a 45-degree angle. And your thumbs would be like if you were getting ready to do the chicken dance, you could hook your thumbs right under your armpits and waggle your chicken wings here. So just having your palms in front facing forward with your thumbs about that height. And you might even have your fingertips angled in a little bit, as if you're getting ready to catch a basketball that someone's about to throw you. And so you might have your fingertips getting ready to grip onto that. And when you catch that basketball, you're ready to do a chest pass. Do you remember these from school? So you're just going to throw that ball right out from here. So this is about the position of your hands. And you're going to try and keep your abs and back muscles engaged. And they will get stronger as you're doing this. So this is good for posture. So we're going to come over and try the action on the wall. So get yourself set up in your position, maybe a foot or a foot and a half away from the wall. Bring your hands up in front of your chest, elbows bent, and then bring them onto the wall and experiment here with how high you want your hands to be. Might be just right in front of your shoulders. They might be up a little bit. They might be out to the side with a little bit more space between your hands. Come up onto the balls of your feet, positioning your feet as wide as you want to. Keep your torso, even though you're on a lean, keep your body nice and long and solid using your ab muscles. And then taking care not to hit your head or face on the wall. Just bring yourself in as close as you can by bending your elbows, push into your hands and push back out. And do a few more of these. So when you do a few repetitions in a row, that's called a set. So right now we're just doing a set of 4, and then come back onto your feet. And anytime you need a stretch, which you could do in between sets or wait till the end, one great way to stretch out your shoulder is to lie your arm along the wall. You could do this on the floor too. From your hand all the way to your shoulder with your palm on the wall. And then where you're standing by your shoulder, just turn your body away from the wall so that you feel this stretch. And you'll know how far to turn. You can feel what that feels like. And hold this for maybe 30 seconds, or you might think of it as 4 or 5 breaths. And then on the other side, same thing. Maybe you can see this side a little bit better. And then turn away. And hold. That was maybe a bit short, but just giving you the idea what to do. So now let's try another short set on the wall again. This time, wherever you were standing before, try backing up 4 to 6 inches so that your body's going to be on more of a lean and there'll be a little bit more weight on your arms. Get your feet set up, your hips squared up, your hands in place. Lift up onto the balls of your feet, bend your elbows and start. And let's do another set of 4. Keeping your torso strong. Lean in. It's good to come as far down as you can and then go back up. And the reason for that is that you're working your entire arm, strengthening the whole thing as you do this. But if you get to the point that you're doing push-ups down to the floor, that doesn't mean that you go down and lie down on the floor. You're always holding your body up. I think maybe I did an extra one, but there you go. And you could do another stretch as you want as I talk to you about the actions and how you build things up to a bigger practice. So the wall is a fantastic place to start with push-ups because this is the easiest. A lot of your body weight is going down into your feet, not into your hands. So what I would recommend that you do is try a set of 8 reps altogether. If at the end of that, it's really hard to do the last 1 or 2, this is a great place for you to start. And from there, you could work your way up to doing a set of 12. And then you could switch from that the next time you have a workout to trying 2 sets of 8. So you would do 8, take a rest for a minute or 2, and then try another 8. Work your way up to 2 sets of 12, and then switch to 3 sets of 8 and work your way up to 3 sets of 12. And once you get there, then you need to find a lower surface to work on. If doing a set of 8 here already, you feel like this is too easy for you, then you might want to look for a lower surface right away. So you could look around your home, maybe for a windowsill, a high table, a countertop, something sturdy that you could lean down onto. And you might even like to try this now, doing a set of 8 on another surface. So I'm just going to show you on my table right here how that would look. And you can try it somewhere else if you like, or you can just watch first. I'll just do a few here. So I'm going to try this edge of this table. And I might just have my hands kind of with the heel of my hand right on the edge here so that my hands don't slip. If you have arthritic hands, and I often do this, is to wear gloves when I'm doing something like this. It just gives me more ease in my hands. So I'm stepping back, getting myself in position, and lowering down to the table and back up. I might do one more, but I can tell this is a bit low for me. So you might try this out on different surfaces in your home. If you have stairs, then that'd be a great thing to use to figure out what the right height is for you to do. Starting out, finding some place where if you do a set of 8, you're going to find that difficult to do the last 1 or 2, and working your way up. So gradually you work your way to a lower and lower surface until maybe you get down to the ground. And that is sort of the ultimate, doing a push-up onto the ground. But even when you come down to start that, you could start out, if you're okay with kneeling, doing the push-up like this with your knees down. And then the next way to progress would be in a high plank and then lower down from here. I know those are really hard, so I'm not actually going to do them for you today. But when you get to a level that it's easy for you to do what you're doing, you're not challenging yourself enough, and you're not going to be doing any strengthening. So what you need to do is find something harder to do. After this, what I want to show you is the 4th step, which is recovery. And you don't need to be kneeling for this, but since I'm down here, I'll just show you. You could just be leaning over while you're standing up. One thing that we can use the ball for on the chair seat or table or whatever you want to use is to help our hands and forearms recover from that. So you can just set the ball down under your forearm and roll your arm with a moderate amount of pressure up and down a few times into those muscles. And you might go all the way to your hand. And you might even turn it over and do the back. And the back of your hand. And the same on the other side. We'll just take a moment to do that if you're following along, just so that you feel like what that's like on this side. And then we'll do one more recovery action using our bands again, standing up. Set the middle of your band down onto the floor, holding onto it with both hands, and step both your feet in here. And hold onto the band so that your fingertips are pointing down towards the floor. And you might experiment with how long or short your grip needs to be. And you might be starting out kind of in a halfway forward fold. Let yourself roll up going from a rounded back to coming up. Oh, my band just broke. All right, this is a brand new one. That's not great. But pretending that I'm still holding on to the band, well, that's funny that it got caught on camera. Roll your shoulders up and back. Luckily, I have some more. And roll your way down again. Here, maybe I can just use what I have left. Move over a little bit. This will be a shorter band now. Roll back up. And you might lift your shoulders up, roll them up and down. And you could do this a few more times until you feel great. Now you could do your push-up practice 2 or 3 times a week, gradually doing a little more every time. A lot of times people start out with too much and then they get discouraged. But this way you can just continue on little by little, feeling that strength. And that's it for our practice today. Have a great day. Bye now.